Well, good evening to you. We are coming to you live from Dan Mwazo Social Hall here in Taita Taveta County. Remember that Voi is one of the largest town centers in Taita Taveta County that hosts the Great Savo East National Park, which acts as a gateway as an economic hub for tourism, agriculture and other economic activities within this particular devolved unit. And of course, if you're just joining us, welcome to the 6th edition of the Transgenerational Conversation. The 6th to build a bridge between the young and the old. This morning we had the opportunity to traverse the bustling Voi Town Centre, where we sampled a few bites from the residents. We'll be sharing them with you in due course. But for now, we are currently live on KBC Channel 1 exclusively to the broadcaster, where we're in partnership with the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, NCIC, the Korean International Cooperation Agency, KOICA, as well as the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP, and other key stakeholders who are here with us in this hall, including the county government of Taita Taveta. But for now, our audience are currently seated. They will have the opportunity to engage our panel of experts who are drawn from various fields. As and when they get the opportunity, they will ask their questions and their comments. We are also live on our YouTube channel, KBC Channel 1. Send your comments there, your question, using the hashtag #AmaniCoGround, and we'll sample some of your views as this session continues. But for now, good evening once more. My name is Abdiaziz Hashim, and as always, I am not alone.
Naam, shukran sana mwenzangu Abdiaziz Hashim, na bila shaka hujambo mtazamaji. Baada ya kuzungumza na wananchi katika kaunti ya Kilifi, hatimaye leo hii tumetua katika kaunti ya Taita Taveta, awamu ikiwa ni ya 6 ya mazungumzo ya vizazi. Upande huu mwingine mtazamaji, fursa yangu itakuwa tu ni kuwapa wananchi fursa ya kuzungumza. Manake kila mara sisi husema mazungumzo bila sauti ya mwananchi si kamilifu. Hivyo basi wakati utakapotimia nitakuwa nawapa wananchi fursa ya kuchangia au kuuliza swali lolote. Lakini kwa sasa na urejeshe usukani kwake Abdiaziz Hashim. Jina langu ni Nancy Okware.
Shukran Nancy, good evening and welcome to the 6th edition of the Transgenerational Conversation live from Voi, Taita Taveta County. Now, our panel this evening consists of, on the furthest end, I will start with Don Martin Mwashigadi. He is an administrator and youth development leader. He is an accomplished administrator and youth development leader with over 10 years of experience in human resource management, public administration and public policy. Don, karibu sana. Next to Don, we have a man in cloth, of course, David Zoe, the founder of the Reformation House of Prayer for All Nations. He is a recipient of the Head of State Commendation in 2020 for outstanding contribution to peace and community development. David, karibu sana.
Asante.
Also here, we do have Isabella Wogagam Kidede. She is a public finance and social accountability advocate. She serves as the secretary of the Taita Taveta County Budget and Economic Forum, promoting stakeholder dialogue and public participation in county physical planning. Isabella, karibu sana. And as always, we do have a representative from the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, NCIC, is Mr. Kilian Nyambu. He is the NCIC Deputy Director, Public Education and Engagement, with over 28 years of experience in education and peace building. He has served as a teacher, administrator and a mediator. Mr. Kilian, karibu sana.
Thank you so much.
And of course, our audience, karibuni sana once more, and thank you for making time for us. And we start this conversation with you, Mr. Kilian. This is the 6th county this conversation is coming to. Are we headed in the right direction when it comes to what you're trying to achieve? A soundful, better governance and a political accountability and decency in this country?
Absolutely. Good evening, viewers. And we are always reminded that the most richest place on earth is the cemetery. Why? Because people with very good ideas, very progressive minds, unfortunately, probably they might have passed on without sharing the same. And of course, these diversity intergenerational conversation forums are giving us opportunity for all Kenyans to be able to share their views, to shape the national conversation and the national agenda. We believe that it is through this conversation that policies are going to be informed, solutions to the challenges which people are facing are going to be found, and of course, we can, as Kenyans, be able to share our concerns, our joys, and our anticipation. So indeed, these conversations, they are shaping the conversation of the nation.
And Isabella, given that this is also the 6th edition of this conversation, now it is in your own backyard in Taita Taveta County, in terms of the underlying issues that has brought us to hold such kind of a conversation, what would you say are those underlying issues?
One of the underlying issues, and I think one is to thank the organizers basically for bringing the transgenerational conversations to Taita Taveta County and allowing us to have that platform to share even on the issues that really affect us. I think we have issues including better governance that will create equal opportunities for everyone in this room, for all the generations. And I mean, if we have better governance, if we have equal opportunities for all in terms of employment, in terms of participation, then we will be heading in the right direction. Thank you.
And David, the men of cloth have been very vocal when it comes to calling for dialogue and understanding between the two generations, not only Gen X, Gen Z, millennials, name them all. What would you think is the first step?
I think the first step, it used to be there in the past. Our elders used to talk to the younger generations. And then also in the Bible, it is there. It was the parents who were supposed to pass the knowledge of God and the other knowledge to the other generations. But I think somewhere on the way, we lost it. Because parents don't have time with their children until they grow up, and so there is that gap. I think this one is a beginning and also a challenge that going forward, we should see how we can repair those dialogues. We can bring them back to the family at the family level. Even at the elders level, we used to have a council of elders called Zomes in Taita. And they are not functional. Some places they are there, but they are not doing what they should be doing.
And Don, in terms of action, because many youths, we have been to various counties, they're saying people like talking a lot. But when it comes to action, that is where they draw the line. Do you think people are talking too much?
Yes. I believe people are talking too much with limited action. And we are, as a nation, we are at a point whereby there are two generations that I would somehow be in competition. There is a generation that wants to see more change, more implementation, more transparency. Then there is a generation that also probably had the same thoughts, but now because they have not been able to, as Pastor is saying, they have not been able to sit down to exchange, so that they can see how best they can be able to move together and produce that action, because it's one generation seeking to see something happen, and it's another generation that has to be there to implement that to happen. So yes, I believe that there is a lot of talk that now needs to translate into action.
And Mr. Killian, back to you. You just heard what Don is talking about. And many youths who are raising these particular concerns, they are talking too much, but you're not hearing. What should be done for them to be heard?
Two things are of critical importance. Of course, number one, having the normal formal channels of articulating their issues as well as the suggestion. It is saddening that sometimes you'll find when the different levels of government, either the national government or the county governments, when they are calling for platforms for people to go and give their suggestions and give their ideas. Sometimes as Kenyans, we have developed that culture of kuna sitting allowance before I attend. So you'll find forums are being invited for people to be able to go and give their opinion and suggestions, but because of the culture of sitting allowance, people don't go. Then when things start being implemented, say, no, that was not our priority. So for us, it's an opportunity that let us remove this culture of, for me to be able to participate in an event, give my opinion, I must be facilitated. I can be able to go there. Then number two, of critical importance, is the level of holding our leaders accountable. Because whether the national government, the county government, or different stages of leadership, before they assume certain positions, they do commit, they do pledge to engage in A, B, C, D. But unless people get reminded that we had a covenant here, we had agreed that you're supposed to do A, B, C, D, how far are you in those A, B, C, D? Have you done A? Have you done B? Have you done C? Have you done E? You know? So that beside making the promises, making the commitment, the level of accountability of the citizens to their leadership has to be upscaled.
Okay.
Yes.
And Isabella, in terms of accountability and transparency, something that Gen Zs have been calling for, that is what even led to the demonstrations we witnessed in 2024. Are we achieving it?
There's a great improvement from where we were and to where we are right now in terms of transparency. And I'll give an example of Taita Taveta County. Through Budgeti Hub, which is a non-governmental organization that does a transparency survey on the budget, availability of budget documents, for example, in the website. We've seen a great improvement of counties basically putting their public documents, budget documents, online in their county website. So we are going there. But now is what Nyambo is saying, then are we even consuming that information? How then do we as citizens, consume that information and put the citizens to, the leaders to account? For example, we've had the national government produce their budget review and outlook paper. Then how many do know that, the National Treasury have produced that? Taita Taveta has already uploaded theirs, the county budget review and outlook paper, for example, in their website. How many people have been able to interact and read and know what are the challenges that, even at the national and county level, they've been able to, what are those challenges that were there during implementation of the previous financial year budget. So we still have a long way to go.
And David, in terms of that, is it that we have this culture of laziness? We don't want to read a whole document with 700 pages to hold account to some of the leaders at the end of the day we vote for? Or is it the issue of accessibility to such kind of information?
No, I think it's not an issue of accessibility. Because, for instance, I'm the chairman of Taita Taveta Atsano Miners Association, and there's a lot of knowledge I have. There are a lot of openings in the mining industry. We can absorb all the youths in Taita, and also from all other parts of the country. Today, I went to a mine today, and there they are mining savorite. It's a gemstone, but they are burying graphite. Graphite is a strategic mineral. Here in Kenya, it is also a critical mineral in the other. And we have our Gen Zs. They're educated. If they came up with ways of value addition, see, it's a lot of money, graphite, being buried. Wanaizika, wanachimba shimo wanazika, because it is waste. But it is not waste. There's a lot of money. So I think these intergenerational dialogues are very important. And then the youths also, they should know that there is knowledge we have that we can share with them. And we are available to share that knowledge. Now, we have very few of them in the mining sector. Most of the members who are there are over 30s, 40s, 50s. And I think the knowledge is there. If they need the knowledge, I think we have to bridge that gap that has been there between us and them. And I think it will benefit a lot of people, even the country.
And next to you, there is a very young man. I presume he could be a millennial. Are you ready to listen now to the old people?
Yes. Let me even say this, that listening is not a challenge to young people. Bringing them to the table is what is required. We need to have ways in which we can bring young people to the table, and it's an issue that is affecting young people because there is an exclusion of young people in a lot that is happening that pertains them. So you find out even in simple matters as policy, decision making, young people need to be there. Opportunities such as what our pastor is talking about here, young people need to be brought to the table because there is an assumption. Young people are assumed a lot. And so a lot is not created to suit or even be maybe to be part of young people. So we need to have that way in which we can actually bring them to the table and tell them ile kitu ambayo inahitajika ndio hii hapa. Na ile kitu ambacho mnafaa kufanya ndio hii. Na kama kuna mafunzo ya namna hii tuwafanyie namna hii. So let us bring young people to the table so that they also can understand that there are opportunities here and their voice can be heard, and you will see the much impact that they can create. Yes.
And let me toss it now. We have a very astute teacher here who has served within the public service over 30 years. Is it that you cannot invite those young people to the table? Because most argument that Don is making, we've heard it from other counties, given that this transgenerational conversation has been happening, they're saying, kila wakati mnasema ni wakati wenu kuongoza. but when the time comes, you do not want to hand over the baton? Or is it that what Don is saying, you're assuming they do not know?
No, what Moshigad is mentioning has some weight, but I think we have to look at it in two ways. The first way is that to both sides, there's need to change the mindset. The mindset of imagining that the youth knows nothing and so they can't add any value has to go. The youth which we are having today are learned, informed, aggressive, you know. So indeed, they can be able to add value. So it is important for leadership across board to acknowledge that one. But again, also, let the young people understand that these things don't come on a silver platter. Meaning that you don't need to wait. Because I ask myself, for instance, there are a lot of things which are happening. I think if we had what Isabella had mentioned, the county government, for instance, has posted their document on the online. But the question here is, how many of the young people take time to go to that online, scrutinize whatever has been posted, and be able to say, I think I agree with this and this and this, but I don't agree with this and this, right? Again, there are some, for instance, opportunities being advertised online. How many of us? Because sometimes you'll find, maybe it's a mindset. We will be busy going to see the English Premier League to know who's leading where, yet we have got no shares in that area. But things happening just right under our nose, we don't care. I have seen, for instance, the Ministry of Youth have even come up with certain programs, the Nyota programs. I have seen a lot of advertisement in terms of opportunities for training and so on and so forth. Some scholarships being posted online and so on and so forth. Then there's this thing of already, maybe when they are being advertised, already the recipients are already known, you know? So we must increase, our young people must increase their aggressiveness, right? Then beside that, and this is where now NCIC comes in, particularly within the NCIC Act, when probably there is an opportunity where a young man, a young woman, a young person was qualified, but is being discriminated unfairly, not because he's unqualified, maybe because of other considerations, like probably the ethnic background where he comes from, and so on and so forth. There is a room for the young people to file complaint to the commission and say, yes, I applied for an opportunity outside. Because again, one of the challenges we are discovering, young people are only concentrating on the counties where they're coming from. Yet the County Government Act requires for counties, I think they've given a minimum threshold, a maximum threshold, which they're supposed to recruit of up to 70%. Meaning that 30% and above, they're supposed to be provided for people outside the dominant community. But you see, people will only clog the counties where they come from. And when they feel probably they have been discriminated, they will not complain. And this is what now makes these challenges to persist.
Okay.
Yes.
And Isabella, in terms of where Nyambo has left it, in terms of unemployment, which has been a major concern that the youth of this country have been raising, is it that we are waiting to get those white-collar jobs? Why not take advantage of social media? We saw what happened in 2024, where they were even able to marshal millions and millions of Kenyan shillings online.
I think for me, I feel the youths actually do not even want the white-collar jobs. They really want them to be given that space, to be given that room. And we have seen youths being innovative, even in creating job opportunities in the social media. We have seen youths now creating opportunities, even in the agriculture sector, in the tourism sector. They are very innovative. And I think the public service once said that for them to actually absorb the youth, they will need to shift some of the policies up to at least 90%, because the culture that is in let's say government, the bureaucracies that are in government do not even give the youths space to be innovative. And that is why most people are mentioning that, it is very difficult to work with Gen Zs and looking at the social media. But if those opportunities are created,
if the youths are given opportunity to work for governments, to work for private sector, and they're given that room to be innovative, we will make a very big stride and, you know, make just them being not given freedom as per se, but that's room and opportunity for them to be creative, so that we can, you know, move maybe from even a lot of paperwork. I have a niece who is a Gen Z, and she works for a government institution, and she was saying, you know, there's a lot of paperwork. Can we reduce the paperwork? But she was told, we found these things that way, and we will move forward that way. So there's need to change the culture.
David and Don, I'll be coming to you, but let's involve our audience now. Nancy, uko wapi? Tueleze maoni ya wakazi.
Asante sana Abdi Aziz Hashim, na kwa kweli mtazamaji, kama nilivyoahidi ni ya kwamba tutakuwa tunapata maoni ya wananchi na bado wanazidi kujiandaa, lakini kwa sasa hivi manake ni mazungumzo ya vizazi, ningependa tu kuzungumza na baadhi ya washikadau mbalimbali ambao wako hapa, na tunajua ni mazungumzo baina ya vijana, wazee, wafanyabiashara, kila mmoja, na hivyo basi nitaanza tu kupata maoni kutoka kwa mwakilishi wa baraza la wazee ambaye anajulikana kama Gideon Mwakichi. Tafadhali utasimama. Asante sana kwa kuzungumza nasi. Tueleze kwanza jina lako na pia mchango wako tu kwa kifupi kuhusiana na haya mazungumzo, kama Kenya tunaelekea katika mwelekeo unaofaa.
Kwa majina naitwa Gideon Mwakichi, natoka kwa shirika la Lega Kima Elders Association. Mimi naweza kusema kulingana na vile tunaenda, ikiwa tunaenda na mnaitu kujulisha wananchi au vijana, tutakuwa tunaenda vizuri, lakini kuna masuala ambayo yanahusu vijana ambayo yatakikana kuwekwa mstari wa mbele. Jambo la kwanza, masuala ya ardhi. Hapa Taita Taveta kuna kidonda sugu kuhusu ardhi. La pili ni maji. Tunaongea juu ya Mzima Spring. Kama hapa Taita Taveta ikifikia ni msimu wa siasa, tunaambia Mzima tu inaenda kuanzwa. La pili, tunakuja kwa masuala ya public participation, either iwe ni national au county government. Tunauliza, au wakati mwingine wakati watakuja hawachukui maoni ya vile mwananchi amesema. What they are going to implement is quite different. So wanaacha mwananchi nyuma, hasa kama tukisema juu ya vijana. Hii ni kidonda sugu kwa vijana, wanasema wanacho nyuma.
Naam, asante sana kwa mchango huo, na vile vile tuko nao mwakilishi wa SUPKEM ambaye atakuwa tu anatueleza Bwana Mohamed Washala. Utasimama tu kisha utueleze jina lako, utaangalia tu upande huu. Mchango wako kwa kifupi sekunde 30.
Asante sana. Mimi kwa majina naitwa Mohamed Washala Abdi. Ningesema mtazamo wangu ni tofauti. Kwamba hizi transgenerational conversations zimekuja at an ideal time, because they have been informed by incidents in the recent past. Lakini kwa msingi mwanzo nasema, kabla tujakuja katika dialogue na this conversation, we have to restore transgenerational or intergenerational relationship, which is really distorted. Elderly and the young cannot sit together, but we can only build these things if we build respect, reciprocity, responsibility, and resilience among these generations. And you know, it's very ideal to have this conversation because it is the only platform to bring together and combine wisdom from the elderly and energy, strength and innovation from the youth. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Kwa kifupi hivyo tu, na pia kunaye mwakilishi wa watu ambao wana ulemavu. Utasimama tafadhali, tueleze jina lako na mchango wako kwa kifupi.
Asante sana. Jina langu naitwa Afizi Nyambo Ibrahim, na nawakilisha wale wenzangu ambao wanaishi na ulemavu. Na nikisema ya kwamba katika mdahalo huu ambao tunaongea, ukisikia pale mbele kumeongewa elderly, kaongewa na vijana, lakini je, umesikia kuhusu mlemavu yote ametajwa na masuala ya ulemavu? Kwa kawaida niseme kama midahalo kama hii ambayo inakuja, sisi watu ambao tunaishi na ulemavu tumeenda kusaulika kabisa. Utakuta kama ni kuna draft yote ambayo inaenda kufanywa ya kuhusiana labda ni katika sera ama ni sheria, huwa tunaachwa nyuma, hatuhusishwi katika kuanzisha. Tunakuja kuikuta imeshaletwa, imeshatekelezwa. Hata katika uajiri, tukienda uajiri wa county government, tukienda uajiri wa national government, tukija hata kwa county assembly, utakuta anayewakilisha watu wanaoishi na ulemavu ni mtu mzima kabisa. Na tukifuatilia kwa sababu ya uchache wetu, ule ambao labda tuko nao wa kifedha, ambapo hatuwezi kwenda kotini, utakuta kwamba tutaletewa masuala tofauti. Utasikia anawakilisha kwa sababu kadha wa kadha, tunabaki nyuma. Hata tukiangalia katika jumba hili, angalia kupanda kile kipando kwenda kule juu. Je, mtu mwenye wheelchair atapanda vipi pale afike kule? Unakuta masuala kama haya yote yameenda kuachwa nyuma. Ndio unakuta kwamba tukijali kila wakati tukileta affirmative action, tulete mambo ya kuhusisha vijana kwa pamoja. Hebu tafadhali tulete pamoja na wale wenzetu wanaoishi na ulemavu. Asante.
Asante sana. Bila shaka ni mambo mazito ambayo yanastahili kuzidi kuzingatiwa, na vile vile tukiwa hapa katika kaunti ya Taita Taveta kunaye mwakilishi kutoka KWS, sijui yako upande upi, na mangalau utasimama tu tueleze jina lako alafu utatoa mchango wako tu kwa kifupi hasa kuhusiana na sekta yako.
Sawa, asante sana. Kwa majina naitwa Saidi Twalib kutoka shirika la wanyama wa pori Tsavo Mashariki ama Tsavo East National Park. Kwa ufupi, Taita Taveta iko na rasilimali mingi sana. Mbuga kubwa kabisa ya nchi nzima ya Kenya inapatikana hapa Tsavo East National Park, ambapo sasa unakuta youth, tumeengage youth wengi kutoka Kajire, kutoka Voi, kutoka wapi kufanya nini? Kushirikana kwa mambo ya conservation ya wanyama pori. Kenya Life Service mara nyingi hatuwezi fanya uhifadhi bila wananchi. Na sisi tunasema namna hii, 70% ya wanyamapori wako nje kwa community. 30 ni wale tuko nao kwa mbuga zetu. Kwa mfano naweza pena mfano, wakati SGR ilijengwa, na unajua tabia za ndovu wakati wa mvua wanatoka nje. Wakati walienda nje, wakati SGR ilijengwa, wale wanyama walikuwa wameenda nje, walibaki wapi huko? Sasa sisi kama KWS tumeshirikiana na youth sana wametusaidia kupatia information kwa ndovu wanaenda pande hii, na tukafanikiwa kwa conservation. Asante sana.
Asante sana kwa huo mchango wako, na vile vile tutazungumza naye mwakilishi wa jamii ya wafanyabiashara Zakius Maganga, angalau atueleze mchango wake kuhusiana na hili swala. Lakini tunapozidi kuzungumza naye pia tuko naye mambo ya siasa kidogo. Ulikuwa mwakilishi wa kike awali, utasimama tu tafadhali tueleze tu kwa kifupi mchango wako, sekunde 30.
Asante sana, na pia nashukuru kwa ajili ya hii ambayo imeleta hapa Taita Taveta. Kwa kweli ni jambo ambalo linahitajika, lazima watu waanze kuzungumza kwa pamoja, na isiwe tu ni wakati huu peke yake, bali tuiendeleze pia after this event. Na kwa kweli katika upande wa kina mama ni kwamba tumeona wanawake wengi wameweza kuinuka katika kuingia katika nafasi za siasa. Wakati huo katika kulingana na kijamii vile ambavyo tulikuwa tumekuzwa, ilikuwa ni kwamba kina mama hawezi pia nafasi ya kuweza hata kuongea mbele ya wanaume, kwamba hata kama kuna any discussion ambayo inaendelea, wanawake walikuwa wanaambiwa nyinyi mnafaa kunyamaza, na vile wazee ambavyo wamesema ndio hivyo itakuwa. Lakini tumeona mabadiliko mengi sana. Kuna sauti za wanawake zinainuka, wanawake wanajichangia katika mambo ya budget. Dada vile alikuwa anaongea, wanaenda katika hizo mikutano na wanaweza pia kuweza kudebate katika kuangalia masuala vipi masuala yao yameweza kuangaliwa. Na vile vile katika siasa, si kwamba wanawake tu wa umri wa rika kama mimi, hata wale ambao ni wachanga tumeweza kuona pia wamechangamka kuingia katika mambo ya siasa.
Asante sana. Nitazungumza naye aliyekuwa mwakilishi wadi Eric Ocheng kwa kifupi sana, sekunde 30, kisha tutazungumza naye mwakilishi wa masuala ya biashara.
Asante sana kwa nafasi hii na nashukuru sana kwa kikao, lakini mazungumzo ni muhimu zaidi, na swali la vijana ni kuwa tunaongea nini, na je tunapoongea atatekelezwa tulivyoongea? Kwa mfano saizi serikali imekuja na mipango mizuri kama nyota kama nini, lakini unapata mambo yote haya yanafanywa kwa mitandao. Sehemu zetu kama Sagala, Angolia, mitandao ni chache. Unapata siku ya validation ikifika, vijana wa hizo wodi hawafiki. Sasa hawafaidi kabisa. Na ni muhimu tuangalie, sheria zimetungwa vizuri za kulinda vijana, walemavu na kila kitu, lakini hakuna sheria inasema, je, taasisi fulani isipofanya hivi ni hatua gani itachukuliwa? Wasipoandika 30% vijana, wasipoandika hivi ni hatua gani itachukuliwa? Kwa hivyo ni muhimu tunapoongea tuangalie kuwa vijana tunawaingiza na tuwape motisha kuwa yale tutakayosema yatatekelezwa, ndio itakuwa ni muhimu. Asante sana.
Asante sana. Pia makundi ya kijamii tuko naye Bwana Abed, sekunde 30.
Sawa, asante sana. Yangu ni kwamba kwanza nikupongeza wana Gen Z kwa sababu tarehe 25 mwaka uliopita walipeana mwamko mpya kabisa katika hii nchi katika masala ya wanaharakati. lakini ni kujiuliza, je, baada ya hapo rais kuna maswala ambayo aliyaongelea kwamba atatilia maanani kutekeleza wajibu ya Gen Z tunavyotaka, lakini nani anayofuatia hayo? Nakubaliana nao wakisema kwamba wako tribeless, lakini I think it's high time waanze kuwa na viongozi na pia waweze kujihusisha katika vyama vya kisiasa kama civil society ama mashirika ambayo sio serikali na sio kijamii. Sisi ni kusukuma kwamba vijana waweze kuhusishwa katika political participation. Hivi vyama tunavisukuma ORPP, na hivi vyama huwa vinapatiwa pesa na serikali. Chama kama ODM, chama kama UDA, chama kama Wiper, kiweze kuwa na internal democracy and enhancing political participation among the special interest group. We want to see the PWDs, we want to see the youth and the women taking up these positions and later participating in elections. Kidogo tu kwamba haya mazungumzo ni muhimu sana, lakini baada nyinyi kuondoka, na nawashukuru sana, na nashukuru baba mahali alipo, Mungu amweke mahali pema peponi, sababu is the father of democracy and the father of devolution. He supported this platform, and I want to say that going forward, and even the county government as a challenge, we need to have this periodic civic engagement between all the leaders at all levels. The MCAs should be causing, the MCA Kaloleni and MCA everywhere should be causing this civic engagement on different thematic areas with the youth, because we should have platform to engage with them. The governor should be causing a round table meeting with the youth of this county to discuss the agenda and also the women going forward.
Thank you so much. Kweli ni mengi sana ambayo kila mmoja anataka kuyasema. Lakini sasa hivi mtazamaji, ningependa tu kurejesha usukani kwake Abdiaziz Hashim, na tutakuwa tunazidi tu kupata maoni hasa kwa wananchi. Ikiwa una swali utainua mkono, kisha nitakuwa nakupa ile fursa ya kuzungumza, lakini kwa sasa Abdiaziz.
Shukran sana Nancy, and of course we have gathered a little bit of sample from our audience. Do not worry, we'll give you an opportunity. We'll come back to you. You can ask your question, you can pose your comments, and we'll be sampling them. Also, you watching us back at home, continue to send in your feedback so that we can pose it to our panel and even to our members of the audience. This is the 6th edition of the Transgenerational Conversation currently happening here in Voi, Taita Taveta County. Also in our midst, we do have the Deputy Governor of Taita Taveta County. Especially, she'll be responding to that particular questions that have been posed by the members of Voi County who are talking about equal opportunities within the county government of Taita Taveta, especially when it comes to PWDs, the youths and other people who are vulnerable within this society if they are getting opportunities within the county government of Taita Taveta. Also, we'll continue sampling some of your views as this session continues. The members of the public here will be continuing to ask our panel, and of course I'll urge our panel members to continue jotting down their comments and their questions so that you can respond to it. And of course, in just momentarily I'll be handing you over to my colleague, that is Rose Were. And also remember that the hashtag is Amanikwa Ground. We'll sample some of the views as the session continues. Do not feel shy. We'll pose your questions and your comments. But for now, Rose, if you're there, good evening and over to you.
Good evening. Thank you, Abdi. Within us, we have the Deputy Governor of Taita Taveta County, Madam Honorable Christine Kilalo. Karibu, Madam. Our question today to you is, how does the county government intend to continue these conversations after this town hall and engagement with the youth? And also, what are the priorities you've put in place for the youth empowerment in terms of things like supplementary budget? Karibu.
Ujambo mtazamaji, jina langu ni Christine Kilalo, naibu gavana wa Taita Taveta, na nashukuru kwa ajili ya mkao huu. Swali nimeulizwa ni maswala gani tumepangia vijana, na mimi nataka kujibu hivi. Kwa sasa mipangilio ya kiserikali huwa iko, lakini katika katiba ya Kenya inazungumza masuala ya uhusishwaji, public participation. Na vile panelists na wengine wameongea ni kwamba katika hii public participation mpaka tuende kwa extra effort ndio tuweze kuunganisha vijana na zile mainstream activities ambazo ziko. Na upande wetu, shughuli zile tunafanya ambazo zinaendelea za kiserikali ni zile conventional. Manake tunaelewa katika masuala ya marika mbalimbali, wazee, vijana, watoto, katika mpangilio wa maisha wa namna hiyo kuna shughuli mbalimbali. Na katika masuala ya vijana kuna mambo ya michezo, mambo ya art, mambo ya nyimbo, na masuala pia ambayo vijana wanapenda sana katika umri huo, masuala ya starehe. Unajua hapo pia ndio watu wanashindwa kuelewana. Manake tunashindwa na kukubaliana katika maisha. There are specific activities for specific generations. Lakini tunapoendesha shughuli zetu ni mpaka tutambue na hizi zitaendeshwa vipi, zitasimamiwa namna gani. Upande huo ndio nitajibu kuhusiana na vijana.
Asante Madam Governor, tumeshukuru kwa huo mchango wako. Also within us tuko na Director wa Youth Affairs George Biketi. He can also tell us what programs they have as national government for the youth and what they are doing. Nitamsongea.
Okay, asante sana. Hujambo msikilizaji, mimi naitwa George Biketi, County Director Youth Affairs Taita Taveta County from the national government. Nimeulizwa kutaja ni programs gani tulizo nazo katika serikali kuhusiana na kutatua changamoto zinazopata vijana. Na swala la kwanza ambalo tuko nalo ni kwamba tuko na Youth Fund ambayo inapeana mikopo kwa vijana, na saizi pia imeongeza ya kwamba inapeana mikopo kwa vijana ambao wanaenda nchi za nje kutafuta kazi. La pili, tuko na Uwezo Fund ambayo ndio mkopo wa kipekee, hauna riba, hauna administration fee na hauna training fee. Taita Taveta tumepeana over 140 million tangu Uwezo Fund ianze, na kufikia sasa nusu ya hizo pesa zishalipwa. Lakini swala ambalo ningehimiza vijana ni kwamba pesa nyingi zinachukuliwa na vikundi vya kina mama, lakini vijana hawachukui hizo pesa kwa uharaka. Kuna mpango mwingine ambao unaitwa Nyota, na huo ndio mpango ambao His Excellency the President is really leading from the forefront. You may remember that on 6th of this month, the President instructed all PSS to go back to every county to popularize Nyota. Akaifungulia tena muda wa vijana kuapply kwa muda wa wiki moja. Hiyo inafuatilia vijana ambao wako na ujuzi na hawana vyeti, wanapewa vyeti. La pili, kuna vijana wale ambao wanataka ujuzi, we call it on job experience. Hao vijana pia tunawatafuta, na very soon tutakuwa tunawapeleka darasani tuwafundishe 1 month on soft skills, na tukitoka hapo tunawapeleka kwa wakufunzi walio tayari ambao wanafanya hiyo kazi ili wawafundishe kwa muda wa miezi 5, halafu kutoka hapo wapelekwe sehemu watakuwa wakifanya kazi kwa miezi 6 tena zaidi. Na bado kunavyo vingine, kwa mfano kesho, pengine Mheshimiwa Deputy Governor alisahau, tunashirikiana na Taita Taveta County, tutakuwa na the County Youth Bill ambayo itakuwa inaenda through public participation tomorrow katika CDF Hall Mwatate, ambapo PS wetu Mheshimiwa Fikirini Jacobs atakuwa hapo. Then tukimaliza hivyo, tuna kikao chenye sasa vijana wote tunawapa muda wa siku 3 kuongeleshana nazi. Hiyo ni tarehe 10 hadi tarehe 13 au 12 ya mwezi ujao. Again, same venue, CDF Hall Mwatate. Asanteni.
Asante sana. Nashukuru. Kati yetu pia tuko na County Public Service Board Chairman, tutarudi kwa Abdi, alafu tutarudi kwake baadaye. Asante.
Talking to the people there, and of course I'll be sampling some of the views that are currently coming in. Edwin on Twitter clearly says, or rather X, the Gen Z transgenerational conversation strengthens local leadership structures by linking policy discussions to real community needs there. Also, we do have Stacy clearly stating that the Gen Z transgenerational conversation currently happening at the Taita Taveta Social Hall highlights the importance of mentorship and collaboration between generations and sustainable peace. And then finally, let me pick this because it's very interesting from Joe. He's saying, as elders share wisdom and youth share vision, the Gen Z transgenerational conversation turn mutual respect into national value. Now, let me involve David because that is a very key important point that is currently being made. David, we're talking about sharing of wisdom, which the elders such as yourself have, but the youth have vision. In this day and age, how do you connect the two?
Thank you for that one. It is true that the elders have wisdom, and the Gen Zs, they have knowledge, they have understanding, whatever. And that's why I said when we were starting, that it's very important we continue with these conversations, because we have to come and sit down together so that we can discuss and see the way forward. Because with us, like me, I'm 62 years old. Very soon I'll just retire. And we need them to take over from us. The wisdom that we have, we don't want to take it to the grave. We want to give it to them. And it is a challenge we are giving. I think when you grow old, you want to release whatever you have so that when you leave, other people can continue. Because that is your legacy. And I think that is whatever the commentator said is very important. So I'm just issuing a challenge to the youth. Just engage us. We are very free. Engage us. Most of us are retired. Engage us. We are very free. We can have time for you. We have the youth leader here also. We would like him to also organize other forums like this ones. And then we can come and sit with them, because there are so many opportunities. Actually, I wish I was a Gen Z now, but with the knowledge I have now, there are so many opportunities. Here in Taita, mining, there is also livestock. We have 1.2 million acres of land for ranches, just ranches. And there are very few animals there, and we need them in that sector also. And also in the wildlife sector and water sector, we have a lot of water in Taita, particularly in Taveta.
Okay. And Don, in terms of trust, because trust deficit has been one of the key issues that have been highlighted on what should be done not only by government institutions, but the older generation, so that you can trust them.
Thank you so much. I'd like to also, to answer your question, but also to, ama utaniruhusu nizungumze Kiswahili kidogo. Mzee wetu hapa Sufkem amezungumza kitu ambacho pia nafikiri pastor wetu alikuwa anaongezea kwamba wazee wako na hekima, alafu vijana wako na maono. Sasa wale wazee na sisi vijana kuna kitu lazima tujifunze. Wazee kuhusisha vijana, alafu vijana kujituma. Manake yale maono ya vijana yanataka kujituma, alafu ile hekima ya wazee inataka muhusisho, ili ya kwamba this thing we are saying transgenerational conversation can have a mix and a blend, ambayo sasa ndo itatoa ile trust ambayo unaulizia. Manake ile trust ikikuwa ikishatengenezwa tayari na mazungumzo, then it is possible for young people to carry a vision and wisdom that our elderly people had and push us forward. Nasema hivi kwa sababu gani? Ningependa kushukuru sana ya kwamba mwenda zake, the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, yes, he was very key and instrumental in creating such platforms, and also the most important one was creating devolution. And devolution for us has been a very good opportunity, manake pale ambapo tunaendelea sahi kama vijana ni ya kwamba we have a big cry of unemployment and underemployment. So ile shida ambayo tunaona ni kwa katika kaunti zetu vijana wanalia hawana kazi, but there is devolution. But devolution has to extend more than just having county government creating jobs for young people in terms of just employing them. We need now to look at the evolution from a standpoint, na ukikana vijana wengi sasa hivi hata hapa Taita Taveta, vijana wengi watakwambia kuna rasilimali nyingi sana Taita, lakini hatuoni vile ambavyo zinatusaidia. Unaona rasilimali kadhaa watataja, lakini sasa ni mbinu gani basi kama county government ambao pengine labda ni ama wale wazee wetu ambao wako hapo, what structures are we putting in point so that tukihakikisha kwamba mzee amesema ako 62 hivi asema na ako kidogo ataendelea mbele. Sasa tuna ile ambayo tunaachia vijana wetu, tunaachia Taita Taveta ya namna gani? So ni lazima pia tukianza kujiuliza hivi, tukipiga darubini tukisema kama ni county government peke yake ambayo itashinda ikiemploy watu wanaemploywa permanent and pensionable. Sasa hawa vijana ambao wamekuwa ni wadogo sasa wamekuwa wakubwa, wataandikwa lini pale county government? So there needs to be a way in which county government yenyewe ianze kuangalia zile sectors ambazo ziko pale ambazo mzee amezitaja hapa, kama vile mining, kama vile livestock, kama vile agriculture, kama vile tourism. Hapo tutatengeneza kazi. So ni lazima tuitao vijana tuweke kwa meza, tuulize nyinyi mnafikiria vipi tukiekeza katika sekta ya livestock, tutengeneze kazi hapo. Vijana wangapi wataingia kwa ile sekta ya livestock? Alafu tuonyeshe mbinu ambavyo hii livestock tukiitengeneza vizuri inaweza andika watu kazi. Then we build that trust from there. Then as we build that trust from there, we create an open opportunity so that the land, kuna mzee hapa amesema kwamba lazima tuangalie mambo ya ardhi, ya kwamba ardhi ni swala. Lakini ardhi zinakuwa swala kwa Taita Taveta kwa sababu gani? Unapata mara kwa mara Taita Taveta haijakuwa na ile opportunity ya kutengeneza makazi. So unapata pengine labda ni mistake ilikuwa imefanyika kule kitambo. Wale wazazi wetu walipokuwa walikuja wakapata Taita Taveta, hakuna chochote, hakuna kazi. Wengi wakaenda Nairobi, wengine wakaenda Mombasa. Wakaacha ardhi ikawa haina chochote na haina mtu. Sasa ile mistake ndo tunaona ni kama tunataka kuifanya tena. Maanake sasa hivi zile kazi ambazo ziko ni chache mno. Sasa utapata vijana wengi hapa asipopata mpenyo, ataenda Nairobi, ataenda Mombasa. Ardhi tena itaachwa haina mtu. So we need to be able to be in a position whereby we trust young people, tunaoingiza katika jinsi ambavyo kuelewa vile ambavyo government inafanya kazi, na pia tuwapatie opportunity na tuangalie sisi kama wazee hizi areas zingiza ambazo tunaweza kutengenezea makazi, tumalize mambo ya unemployment. Asante sana.
Let me allow Nyam comment on that. Yeah. And in terms of what Don is saying, because many youths have raised that particular question, and in terms of the recycling that we have seen both at the national level, at the county level, people who have surpassed the age of 60, then when do people like Don and other youths who are here will get the opportunity to work in those offices?
Nafikiri nitaendeleza na ile lugha ambayo Don alikuwa ameshaanza nayo, na hapa kuna haja ya kujiuliza, kuna mambo mawili muhimu. Jambo la kwanza, vijana wenyewe ni lazima wawe mstari wa mbele kujiandikisha na kutoka kupiga kura, because hawa viongozi, tunasema viongozi wabovu huchaguliwa na raia wema wasiopiga kura. So ni lazima kwamba vijana wetu kwanza waweze kujituma, kama ilivyozungumza hapo awali, wajiandikishe na waweze kushiriki katika zoezi la uchaguzi. Lakini si kupiga kura tu, vile vile kugombea hizi nafasi, kwa sababu hazipeanwi kama sadaka, la hasha. Halafu kwa hivyo pale ambapo tunaanza kupata vijana wenyewe watakapoamua kujitoa, kusimama kidete, kwenda kugombania hizi nafasi, itaongeza uwezekano wa wao pia kuweza kuchukua nafasi hizi. Lakini la pili vile vile ni lazima tubadilishe mtazamo na mwelekeo, kwamba kiongozi bora ni yule ambaye ananipatia shilingi 50, shilingi 100, shilingi 200. Maanake nafikiri kuna mahali kidogo kama Wakenya tunapoteza mwelekeo, kwamba wakati inapofika sisi kwenda kuchagua, ninaangalia fulani amenipatia shilingi ngapi. Kwa hiyo yule ni kama tunajinadi, tunajipiga mnada kwamba yule amenichotea za kutosha ndiye nitampatia kura. Yule ambaye hajanipatia kitu, hata kama ana sifa za uongozi mzuri, kwa sababu hakuchota, basi hafai. Kwa hiyo ni lazima vile vile vijana waanze kujiandikisha kwa uchaguzi, wajitolee kusimama katika nafasi hizi, wajitolee vile vile kwenda kuchagua wale viongozi wanafikiri wanafaa, na waondoe, na hii si vijana peke yake, kama taifa zima tuondoe ile kasumba kwamba kiongozi bora ni yule ambaye ananichotea hela nyingi. Naam.
Asante sana. And Isabella, picking up where Nyambu has left, in terms of leadership position, even in the ongoing voter registration, we're not seeing so many youths coming out to take up the voters card, and then come 2027, you will see them again whining on the leaders they have elected at the end of the day, or failed to elect at the end of the day.
Kwa kweli kuna changamoto ambayo imeonekana kwanza kwa usajili wa kura, na lakini labda tusikate tamaa kwanza, kwa sababu zoezi hili ni endelevu. IBC endelee pia kuhimiza watu, na sisi ambao tunafanya civic education, kuendeleza kuhimiza vijana, na sisi wenyewe tuambiane kuwa vijana lazima tuweze kuchukua kura na tuweze kujiandikisha kura na tuweze pia kusimama kura, na Nyambo amesema. Lakini kuna zile changamoto ambazo vijana pia wanakumbana nazo, vijana, kina mama na watu wanaishi na ulemavu. Na nafurahi tuko na former women rep hapa, atatuambia zile changamoto ambazo walikumbana nazo kabla apate hata kile kiti, na ametangulia kusema kuna ile kasumba ambayo watu wako nayo dhidi ya vijana, watu wako nayo dhidi ya wazee, ya wanawake, watu wako nayo dhidi ya watu wanaoishi na ulemavu. Ukienda tumesema kijana ana vision, lakini ukienda kuongea na wazee watakwambia what a young man can see while standing, an old man can see while sitting. That breaks our hearts. Na mesema sisi we are the carrier of the vision as youths. So one thing pia ni tuweze mbali na kuchukua kura, na Nyambo amesema ni kuangalia ile choices yetu na mtu kupatia ile shilingi. Tuweze kuangalia kwa kigezo, je, kiongozi ni nani? Tuweze kuweka vile vigezo ambavyo kiongozi ambaye tunataka mwadilifu, vile vigezo, si kusema kuwa tunaweza poteza kiongozi kijana mzuri kwa sababu labda kwa ukosefu wa ile tunasema financial muscle, kwa sababu kidogo kihela atakuwa chini, lakini anaweza kuwa kiongozi mzuri na akaongoza generation zote, akaongoza akina mama, akaongoza wazee, akaongoza hata na vijana wenzao.
And indeed, I see everybody now switching to Swahili. Unfortunately, I can't. I'll allow Kware to try and help me there. But David, in terms of moving forward, so that at the end of the day, not just trust, what Dawn is raising is a very pertinent question. It has been raised all over the country. When are you going to give these youths the opportunity to sit in those offices that you had the opportunity to sit in for the last 60 years?
I'm ready anytime. Just recently, I was elected in the Voi Gem Center.
Okay.
But then the voters are minors. And you know, because they are minors, I told you, the minors are people who are elderly. The youths are not coming. But when they come in, they can vote in the people they want to. Some of us, we don't stick to those. But we are there because if I live today with the knowledge I have, and then it's a challenge. Like right now, the problem we have also, it is good to say so that also maybe they can respond. For instance, when we have public participation, and they don't come for the public participation, and they are educated, they know what is supposed to be happening. There are so many things they can talk and which can be implemented by the county government or the national government. And even in these mining forums, when you go there was a prayer meeting recently, a big one, but you find that the youths are very few. I don't know if it is because they have not known what is in mining or the amount of money that they can make there. There's a lot of money in mining. So it's not that we don't want to hand over. Even I'm challenging them. That's why I'm asking them. The government has helped us in mining. They've told us to start in the cooperatives. And they are going to help those cooperatives. And I'm thankful because there's a youth group that has opened registered a cooperative. But I'm also challenging them, more of them. If they are the same thing they are being told about registering to vote in all the sectors, if they are there in numbers, then definitely they are going to take over the positions.
And thank you so much for speaking English. At least you've stayed with solidarity with me. Thank you so much. And of course, on that note, we want to take a short commercial break. We'll be coming back. And of course, we'll be moving now to the audience so that at least they can ask you their questions and pose them to the members of the panel or any comments you might have on this particular conversation. Don't go too far. The conversation continues in the next few minutes. Don't go too far. good evening once more and welcome to the 6th edition of the Transgenerational Conversation, currently happening live from Voi, Taita Taveta County. Continue sending in your comments if you're watching us, and remember to use the hashtag #AmaniCoGround, and we'll sample some of your views as the session continues. But we want to go to our colleague, that is Nancy Okware, so that she can engage with the audience who have already converged here in the Dan Mwanzo Hall. The conversation early started at 7:30. We're midway at 8:30, 1 hour or so. And of course, we've been able to sample some of the views of the residents of Voi. Nancy, over to you.
Thank you so much, Abdiaziz Hashim. Maswali ni mengi sana. Kuna wale ambao wameinua mkono tangu tulipoanza. Pengine tuanze na wewe, utasimama. Tueleze jina lako na swali lako kwa kifupi sana.
Thank you very much. My name is Eric Ochieng. Yeah, I'm the chairman of Voi Youth Forum and also the founder of Voi Huskies Basketball Club. I would like to say 2 questions. One to Mr. Nyambu. I've loved how you've brought it on, that vijana wanafaa wajitume. And also you tackled the matter of allowances and all that. And it is very important to know that right now in this room or in Taita Taveta, youths are no longer searching for employments. Youths are establishing their own businesses and venturing into many other opportunities. But now there is a big problem. The policies that are in place, the business environment, it is no longer conducive. If today a young man starts maybe a kibanda, you will ask that man whether he will get profit or not, because there are many permits that is required of them. Ukionekana tu hivi kidogo, for example, let's take an example of a dairy board. You will have to see public health. You will have to see county. You will have to see the board itself, the dairy board. And so this is a lot of money, and you've not even restocked. So can't we just see a way of putting all these permits into one?
Swali moja tu tafadhali, manake muda umekwisha. Utasimama tu tueleze jina lako kwa kifupi sana. Swali moja, sekunde 30. Utaangalia pale, nitakushikia.
Kwa majina yangu naitwa Joseph Mwamburi Mwambingu. Mimi ni mkaaji wa Voi. Mimi ni secretary wa Community Land Trust hapa Voi. Swali langu nalo uliza ni kwamba sisi kama wazee tunafaa kurekebisha, pia vile county level na national government inafaa kurekebisha, kwa sababu vijana wa sasa si vijana wale walikuwa zamani ambao unaweza kumdanganya. Na kile ambacho nataka kusema ni kwamba hata ukiwa na kijana wako hapo nyumbani, unapomdanganya nitakuletea peremende, umletee ndizi, ukileta peremende ama ukose kuleta kile ambacho alisema, hakikisha kwamba anatupa. Kile ambacho kingine ambacho natakachosema ni kwamba vijana wetu wamesoma kweli, lakini wakati kazi zinapotokea katika national government na county government, unaona ya kwamba kutakuwa na watu kujuana, na ndio maana unaona vijana wanapiga kelele kwa wingi sana. Tukiondoa kujuana na watu waangalie education na papers ambazo they value the same, haina mtoto maskini ama mtoto tajiri, education devalue the same. Kile ambacho nataka kusema ni kwamba tuangalie way forward. Hii ndio inasababisha mpaka Gen Z wanasema haki yetu, haki yetu, haki yetu. Once we stop those things, I hope Gen Z watatulia na wataangalia mwelekeo wao mbele. Thank you very much.
Na asante sana, nitarejea hapo. Wacha nipate swali hapa kwa kifupi sana, jina lako na swali lako.
Kwa jina naitwa Paul Chege, mwenyekiti wa bodaboda Voi. Mimi swali langu ni rahisi sana. Nafikiri tunazunguka sana, na ili kidonda kipone nafikiri nafaa tukikwaruze, alafu tukiweke chumvi, alafu tukifunge tena. Nimesikia rafiki yangu hapa director wa youth amesimama katuongelesha vizuri hapa, alafu tukapiga makofi. Lakini yeye ako na umri gani kama mwakilishi wa youth? Hili ndio swala ambalo sisi tunalilia kama vijana. Kwa sababu kuanzia serikali kuu hadi serikali ya county, ukiangalia hata waziri wa youth kwa serikali kuu, waziri wa youth serikali ya county, wote si vijana. Sasa hapo ndio tunafaa tuanzie kwanza.
Asante kwa mchango wako. Naam, upande huu tutakuwa tunapata swali kutoka, utamsaidia kuuliza swali lake. Asante.
My name is Frey God. I have a question. How can you improve deaf communication in the dialogue?
Asante. Swali nzuri sana. Swali nzuri sana. Swali nzuri sana na tutakuwa tunapata majibu. Utasimama uulize swali lako kwa kifupi kisha nielekee upande ule manake sijazungumza na utasimama tu.
Okay, asante sana Nancy. Kwa majina ni Julius Kimori, ni kiongozi wa vijana katika kaunti hii ya Taita Taveta. Na mimi niko na kitu ambacho nasikia kinanikera. So nasema niongee nitoke. Tukiongelea inclusion, kuna vacancy ambayo nitaquote ambayo ni vacancy number 221 2023. Ilikuwa advertised kwa Public Service Commission. Ilikuwa ni assistant director wa policy. That job required someone to have at least 12 years of experience. The oldest Gen Z in this room ni 28 years old. Sasa jameni, hiyo 12 years experience atatoa wapi? So tukiwa tunasema mambo ya inclusion, nafikiri tusiyaongelee peke yake, tuongelee na tuyafanyie kazi, tuone yakifanyika. Thank you.
Naam. Asante sana. Nitarejea upande huu, utaniruhusu angalau nipate mchango wa dada yangu hapa. Utasimama tueleze jina lako na mchango wako kwa kifupi.
Kwa majina naitwa Masi Mwakio kutoka Sauti ya Wanawake. Mimi nafikiri swala ambalo limezungumziwa ni lack of trust kati ya wazee na vijana. Na nafikiri ni swala muhimu sana tuwe tukiweza kujenga huo uhusiano. Ningependa niulize, labda wale panelists wako pale wanaweza kosa kunipatia jibu kamili, lakini tuko na wakilishi wa county wataweza kunipatia jibu kamili. Je, ni vipi ambavyo wanatengeneza njia za feedback? Kwa sababu tumeona vijana wale wachache wanajitokeza, wanatoa mapendekezo yao, wanatarajia kuwa yatafanyika, alafu wanangoja wanaona hayafanyiki. Je, ni vipi county government inatengeneza structures ambazo zitakuwa zinaweza peana feedback so that we can be able to build that trust?
Asante sana. Ninapoelekea upande ule, utasimama tueleze jina lako na swali lako kwa kifupi. Sekunde 30.
Okay. Kwa majina naitwa Jael Moshuke and my question is kwa sekta ya mambo na agriculture. Taita Taveta tuko na parks, tuko na hills, lakini hiyo place ya agriculture ya mayouth iko wapi? That is the big question.
Asante sana. Swali nzuri. Masuala ya kilimo ulikuwa umeinua mkono kuanzia awali. Nitachukua swali lako kwa kifupi sana.
My name is Engineer Mwamburi, and on a lighter note, when you ask your girlfriend what are we having for supper and she tells you we have been having wheat flour, we have been having popcorns in the store, just know that she had no plans to cook. She doesn't know if she was supposed to cook. Literally, that is what the DG has said about the youths when she was asked. Meanwhile, in my
tatujibu manake yuko hapa, lakini hayo ni maoni yako.
Yes, meanwhile, my question is to you on holding leaders accountable. Bodies like EACC, Office of the Auditor General, and Parliamentary Committee often lack independence, funding, and political will to act. Some are influenced or compromised by the same leaders they are supposed to monitor. Now, before you start throwing stones to ask, how, from our angle, how do you expect us to hold them accountable? That is the question.
Asante. Naarifiwa kwamba turejee kwake Abdi Aziz angalau tupate majibu kisha tuendelee na maswali zaidi.
And thank you so much, Nancy. Before you go, Nancy, kindly hand over that mic to the DG so that she can respond. And of course, most of the questions have been raised by the residents of Voi. But to that question, the last man, young man has asked, in terms of independence, that even brings the question, is NCIC independent?
Thank you. I think this is a question, it's not being asked for the first time, second time. It has been asked several times. And of course, we'll continue putting things into perspective. NCIC does not operate in isolation, in an island. We operate within a continuum of other sister agencies. It's like a system where several components have to work in tandem. Many times, I know the public has been quite persistent on certain elements, particularly when it comes to hate speech and related matters. For real, there are two things which sometimes bring confusion. One is the legal interpretation of hate speech. Because in the eyes of the public, if I throw unkind word to my colleague Isabella here, they'll just say, hiyo ni hate speech. Si tumemsikia kitukana. Why is NCIC? Kwa nini haijafanya kitu na kadhalika? But of course, allow me to put things very candidly. Hate speech as defined in the NCIC Act. An incident will only constitute hate speech when it is intended to stir disharmony within an ethnic community. Let me say this. If I throw an unkind word to Isabella and Isabella responds, that legally is not hate speech. Instead, it is defamation. But you see, people will start saying, because so-and-so ametukana so-and-so, NCIC should have arrested that person. The law, we must adhere to the law. That's number one. Then number two, again, there's the challenge about interdependencies. The role of NCIC is to investigate and prosecute. It ends there. The institution which is given the mandate to prosecute is not NCIC. It is the Director of Public Prosecution. So once NCIC takes its recommendation, it is the DPP's office which is supposed now to pick out from there. And then ultimately, it is the court which will decide the guiltiness or innocence of a person. So within that system, unfortunately, many times NCIC becomes the beating kind of entity into the entire process. But now, let me also address directly to the issue which the last speaker mentioned about holding the leaders accountable. From the NCIC side, based on our mandate as given by the law, the spirit behind the law which created NCIC was more of reconciliatory rather than punitive. That was the spirit of the framers. And you'll find that the law has been very explicitly saying, before you go to the extreme end, you must be able to take certain actions. This include reconciliation, this includes cessation notices, and so on and so forth, which, because we are required by law to do that, we have been trying to do as a commission. But finally, in terms of holding accountable, indeed we have, by basically sending a lot of cessation notices to those culprits whom we feel they are bordering towards the dangerous line. However, let us not leave it to NCIC alone. We as citizens of Kenya, we also have an opportunity, we also have an obligation and duty to call off those leaders who behave in an unacceptable manner. Because if we leave it to only one institution, remember, NCIC as an institution has to serve millions of Kenyans with bad manners, right? But of course, we, as the people whom we live, we can be able to call them into order. I would give one last example. I was impressed one time when a political leader went to a funeral service. And when he started kind of disparaging the other people, the mourners there called him off and told them, use your story, metuleta hapa, tumekuja kuzika. And these are the kind of things we want to see from the Kenyans themselves. Yes.
And going forward, let me start with you, Isabella. In terms of going forward, what can we expect, especially not only from the government, but the citizenry, to ensure that we have a better country?
I think the citizens are already doing a lot in terms of trying to see that we have better governance in the country. We are participating, not at the level that is expected, but we are participating in the budget process, in policy formulation, and that already is a step forward. And I think now, how then do we now bring inclusion in terms of us even participating? How do we bring on board the youths and give them that room and opportunity to participate and make sure that whatever they have, for example, whatever inputs they have are being addressed at the county and also at the national level. Yeah.
And of course, moving forward, what should we expect from the church to ensure that not only these generations come together, but foster peace and cohesion?
I think it's a challenge to us, but then we are going to take up that challenge as religious leaders and see how we can bring back the youth, the young ones, the Gen Zs back to the church, because many of them are going to church, they're not going to the mosque. But then but it started with, we were commanded by our parents to go to church when we were young. And I think even the Muslims and the chairman of Interfaith, they go to madrasa. And then also now, as I started, I had said that the parents stopped only spending time with their children, and also the elders, they also stopped doing the same thing. But now we have to go back to see how we can bring them back to church, and not only to church, but even as parents in our homes, instill the religious education that they're supposed to have. I think it's a big challenge, but we are going to take that challenge as religious leaders.
Lensa?
Because it concerns us. I think that is something to think about.
And Don, how can we use the social media platform? Because we have seen how the youths have been able to use it back in 2024. But of lately, even NCIC raised the alarm when it comes to social media on how it is being used to ensue hate speech and other vices. But how can we ensure it is of benefit to us and not to harm us?
We use it responsibly, and then we use it effectively. Those are the two ways, I think, because one, I even wanted to say that let us not forget the place of technology in inclusion and participation of young people. Civic technology has been proven to work. Currently, right now, we are developing a model called Baraza Africa. Baraza Africa is whereby we are pushing young people, or we get young people to attend public participation, and for every public participation youth groups attend, they earn points. Those points are rewarded for either mentorship programs or training or funding. So we try and use technology a lot because most of these young people are already technology savvy and they are on social media. You see how social media is creating conversations. And even with the coming days, social media and even technology itself is going to be the most key implementing tool, especially in the elections and even the running of a country. So I believe that social media needs to be used responsibly, and then also for governments used effectively to be able to reach to young people and to be able to use it so that they can be able to get what they want. I also wanted to just add on one last thing, is that we need to also remember that policy is really important. A brother of mine here has raised a question about policy, and I just wanted to request that, especially for Taita Taveta County has a Youth Welfare and Empowerment Act. That it is already there, but they have not operationalized it. And most of young people here are talking about empowerment. And that act has provisions whereby there can be funding so that young people can be able to create jobs and maybe do something. But they have not operationalized it. So it is a request that maybe they should think about operationalizing it so that we can move things forward. So for me, I think that it is important, first of all, to look at the policies and the frameworks and make sure that they work, and then also not negate the place of social media and technology in changing the conversations and having young people included.
And maybe quickly, let me finish with Mr. Nyambo. When it comes to implementing, because this is a concern that has been raised here, you have been to 6 counties. Where are you taking the resolutions of the people?
When it all is said and done, these are some of the things which can be shared, will be shared with both the 2 levels of government, so that the issue which concerns our county governments, they can be able to isolate and see the modalities they can be able to put into place to implement. The same also is going to happen to the national government, because one of the roles of NCIC is also to advise the government. Yes.
And indeed, of course, in terms of the resolution, we heard from the NCIC chair previously in terms of a committee that will be set up to take those particular issues that will be fronted. Maybe, do you have a time frame of ensuring these resolutions are taken before the respective county and national government?
This is something which we will have to get guidance from the policymakers before we commit the specific time frame. Yes.
And thank you so much to our panel as well as to our members of audience being gentle, and thank you for having this particular conversation. Let me just quickly pick a few of the sentiments that are currently being made online. Let me start off with Brian, who states that the Taita Taveta Social Hall highlights unity, purpose, and the exchange of ideas as the foundation for nation building. Let me get another sentiment here. From Stanley Wabomba, who says lack of trust is something that needs to be addressed, and the wazee who have wisdom need to aid in that particular aspect. Let me get more from Along Lilo. Along Lilo on social media. We do have a Gen Z transgenerational conversation at Taita Taveta Social Hall says that serve as a reminder that peace building begins with dialogue, understanding and valuing every voice regardless of age or background. We also have Kaseo. The transgenerational at Taita teaches that building peace is a continuous process that requires every voice, the youthful dreamer and a seasoned elder. And then let me just pick a couple few. We also have Emily Arms, who says that the transgenerational conversation affirms that unity is not a slogan but a daily commitment to cooperation. At least one more from Miss Yvonne, who says that at Taita Taveta Social Hall Gen Z transgenerational conversation nurture leadership that listens, learns and leads with empathy. But now that will be concluding our conversation. Remember that this is a conversation that kicked off from the northern frontier county of Marsabit, moving to the border of Busia and on the shores of the coastal city of Kilifi, and now Taita Taveta County brings to a close of phase 1 of the transgenerational conversation. On behalf of the amazing team from KBC who have been bringing you this live coverage from those great 6 counties that started in Marsabit, concludes here the first phase of the transgenerational conversation in Taita Taveta. My name is Abdiaziz Hashim. Also my colleague Nancy Okwari is here, as well as Rosemary Were. But before we go, we do have a special excerpt all the way from Taita Taveta.
Kama ni malaria, kwa nini utapiki mbu? Nasema kwa nini utapiki mbu?
Baba nina mimba.
Ningeshangaa kama ungekuwa na mimba. Wewe kazi kuvaa nguo za kwanza kuchelewa na kuisha mapema. Utakosa kupata mimba wewe. Haya mimba ni ya nani?
Ni ya timu.
Yaani mimba hata si ya mtu mmoja bali ni ya timu nzima. Sasa ni ya yule goalkeeper, defender ama ni yule striker hapa.
Mwalimu Isabati.
Hodi. Haya karibu.
Hodi hapa.
Wataka nini hapa wewe?
Nimekuja kumwangalia chozi mwanafunzi wangu.
Wewe ndio nani?
Mimi ndo Mr. Team, mwalimu wako Isabati.
Basi mwalimu, usiogope inzi ukinunua utumbo. Hivi sasa huyu umeshamtia diploma na mimi nilikuwa nangoja certificate.
Mbona sikuelewi mzee?
Hii mimba yako imeshika kama home cup chai, hauelewi wewe?
This is discretion.
Ulikuwa geresha kumbe una yako.
But I'm innocent.
Hata kama huna senti, huyu ningekupa bure.
According to the Basic Education Act, a teacher is not supposed to engage sexually with their students.
Baba hesabu nini?
Waache upumbavu. Usikio ni orodha ya wale wasichana wengine ambao wamepatia diploma kama wewe. Haya sasa wewe tutaenda jela na utaka huko mpaka ibomoke.
Baba sio huyu, lakini sio huyu.
Haya sio ni nani? Yaani wewe umekuwa ukipelekwa tu tripu, umepewa tipu ushati wa kitu. Haya sasa hiyo tunaipeleka wapi?
Unaona sasa mzee, kitu ungefanya alipokuambia ana mimba na vile ni mwanafunzi, ungeenda ukaripoti kwa children's. Alafu pia ukaenda ukaripoti police station, ndio mwenye amefanya maneno ashikwe achukulie hatua.
Basi hiyo ni idea nzuri na umesahau KBC.
Kenya's watching.
Haya sasa hawa tuambia nini?
Haya njoni tusemezane.
Haya njoni tusemezane.
Haya njoni tusemezane.
Haya njoni tusemezane.
Amani kwa ground.